What is up, guys? Today I'll be reviewing Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. Is this really the final chapter? Let's see. The movie starts out. Wait, did I accidentally put in Part 2? No, this is actually how the movie starts. The movie starts where Paul from Part 2 talks about the people that died in Part 2 and 3, even though they hadn't died in the scene that he was talking about. But let's go on. We finally get to the scene where the paramedics come pick up Jason's bodies and every other person that died in Part 3. Then we go to the morgue where this guy Axel is eating around dead bodies for some reason, and he says, "What a cute girl." Was. Still is. Yeah, this guy's pretty crazy. But then later when Axel's watching aerobics videos, remember those? Anyway, he tries to do it with one of the nurses, but she kind of lets him do it. But then Jason's hand touches her leg and then she leaves. Then Jason comes back to life and takes down Axel. Then Jason comes into the room that the nurse is in and then takes her down too. Then the movie cuts to a scene where this girl and her mom, Trish, and her mother, Tracy, are jogging. Then they go home and then they see Trish's little brother, Tommy Jarvis, which will be Jason's nemesis for the next two movies. Then a group of teens show up, and then they're driving in their car. Then they see Jason's mother's tombstone. And then they meet a hitchhiker, which then they don't pick up. Then she eats a banana, and then Jason takes her down. And then Trish and Tommy go outside when they're at the house across their street. Then that night, Tommy sees two of the teens doing it, and then Tommy's mom then goes into his room and then closes his window. And then the teens the next day try to go swimming, and then they meet these two twins, Terry and Tina, I think. And then Tommy sees the teens at the lake. Then Trish tells him to stop looking at them because he's like 10 years old. And then their car stops working for a little bit. Then Tommy tries to fix it. And then a guy named Rob shows up and then fixes their car for them with a knife. And then he goes into Tommy's room, and then Tommy shows him his masks that he's made, which, no, he did not. And then later that night, the teens, Crispin Glover playing Jimmy, he does his goofy dancing that everybody probably knows about by now. And then one of the teens changes the music, and then he gets mad and leaves. Then Trish and Rob leave the house, and then he goes to his tent that he's at. And then one of the teens' girlfriends gets mad that one of them's hanging out with the twins, and goes to the lake, which she gets taken down by Jason. And then her boyfriend goes out looking for her, and then Jason stabs him in the wiener with a harpoon gun. Ouch. And then I ain't having kids after that, but he stabs him with it. And then Jimmy does it with one of the twins, and then one of the twins tells them they want to leave, but then the other one tells her she'll just stay there with them. Then the twin that tried to leave gets stabbed by Jason with something. And Trish and Tommy's mom comes home, and then she goes outside, and then something gets her. I don't know. I think it might be Jason. I don't know. Then Trish and Tommy get back to the house and then try looking for their mom. And then Trish leaves the house and then finds Rob's tent. And then Rob finds her, and she thinks he was trying to kill her, but he's just going to tell her something. Sorry about that, but then Jimmy brags to Ted that he did it with a girl, and then he tries to look for a corkscrew, and then Jason hits his hand with it and then hits him in the face with the cleaver. But don't worry, the twin that is still alive doesn't live much longer because she's thrown out a window and thrown onto the car. Then Rob tells Trish that he's been hunting Jason down because Jason kind of took out his sister. Remember the girl in Part 2 that got stabbed in the bed? Yeah, that's who his sister is. And then Ted was watching some inappropriate films from the 20s or something. Then Jason hits him in the back of the head with a knife through the projector screen that he was using to watch those on. And then they're only left with 2 teens left in the house. The guy gets his freaking head crushed between the shower. And then the girl he's with gets an axe put in her chest through the door. And then Trish and Rob get back to Tommy and Trish's house. Then go into that house the teens were in. And then Trish and Tommy's dog, which I haven't mentioned, just jumps out the window, wanting to be a part of it. Then Jason takes Rob's life, and then he just yells out, "Who is killing me?" which is very goofy. And then Trish gets back to the house, and then her and Tommy try to barricade the doors and windows, and then Rob's body is just thrown through a window by Jason. Then Jason tries to grab at Tommy, then Trish hits Jason in the neck with a hammer. And then he busts through their door, and then they go upstairs. And then Trish grabs a TV and just smashes Jason in the head with it. And then Tommy tries to get Jason's attention by yelling at him, but Trish tells Tommy to just stay behind. Then Trish and Jason just go into that house, and then Trish jumps out the window. And then while that's happening, Tommy Jarvis shaves himself bald to try to look like Jason. And then Jason tries to take Trish's life, and then Tommy yells at Jason to come near him so he can distract him, while Trish grabs the machete and just knocks Jason's mask off with it. Then Trish drops the machete for some random reason, and don't worry, Tommy grabs the machete and then whacks Jason in the face with the machete. Then it slides down and takes out his eye. And then Tommy then just beats Jason with the machete, telling him to die. And then the movie ends with Trish in the hospital, and then the police and doctors tell her that it was completely normal to go after a serial killer and just beat him with a weapon. And then the movie ends with Tommy Jarvis looking at the camera, saying there might be a sequel, which there probably are. And that was my review of Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. If you like this, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!